We have a fairly short video today, but the news recap does include about four different news articles. It just happens to be short today. You guys go ahead, jump in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these things. Like, comment, share. So many of these XYs are failing and flailing in dramatic and horrendous ways. And it's showing itself in anytime we open up the news apps. So this man right here, Robert Card, they are looking for him. He is a person of interest, is what they're calling him, a person of interest. And he's taken out at least 24 people. Lots of people have been harmed by this man. And he's all over the news, he's all over the news apps, but there's no real motive that I've seen. So I'm kind of staying away from some of the news until there seems to be something of a reason why. But what I am seeing is many of these people have mental issues that are not being addressed. We live in a country that is so lenient where it comes to having pews, and it's a powder keg, because on top of all of that, we have this crisis of lonely men, and this is how it is playing out, because nobody really wants to have these hard conversations. If we wanted to have these hard conversations, we would have been having these harder conversations with the mass pews in schools. When kids were being mowed down, we should have been having these conversations. But certain people edify the rights to have those. And I'm not saying take the rights away, I'm not. But we need to have some conversations, because mental health issues, these crisis of lonely men, and add on easy access to these high powered rifles is getting us what we're getting. All of these mass events, mass carnage events, and I don't see it stopping. I don't see it slowing down. Okay, so manhunt underway for Robert Card. What we know so far, an intensive manhunt is still underway for a suspect in Wednesday's shooting carnage at a bowling alley and a restaurant. So he was targeting these family-oriented places. Robert Card is facing an arrest warrant for 8 counts of unaliving. He should be considered armed and dangerous. He is a certified firearms instructor, and he is a member of the U.S. Army Reserves. Police are urging residents to shelter in place. So this is a man who knows his way around these weapons, and he is obviously intent on hurting multiple people. I wonder if he's going to be found alive, or if he's going to take himself out, or what is going to happen with this. The rampage in Maine is the deadliest U.S. mass pew since Uvalde. It adds a grim docket of 565 such incidents where 4 or more people are shot, excluding the shooter, across the country this year. This has been a terribly horrific year for these situations. A few days ago, and I'm just going to make this whole video with 3 different news things that are going on. This man right here, John Drake, who's 38 years old, he unalived himself. He self-deleted after shooting 2 cops. The crazy thing about it, he is the son of a police chief. So I did this story where he was on the run. Come to find out, he took himself out of the equation. That's why I keep saying these people are failing and flailing. This man was a career criminal, had a daddy that was in law enforcement, and decided to go this route. Failing and flailing. Then we got a manhunt going on for a gunman who took out a Maryland judge. This judge was presiding over his divorce. Maryland authorities said they're searching for a man who allegedly targeted and gunned down a judge who oversaw his divorce proceedings. Pedro Argote, 49, allegedly shot Circuit Court Judge Andrew Wilkinson, who's 52, in the judge's driveway in Hagerstown, Maryland, Thursday night while the victim's wife and son were home. According to the Washington County's Sheriff's Office, Wilkinson was presiding over Argote's divorce proceedings. Sheriff Brian Albert said at a news conference on Friday. Argote's ex was granted custody at a hearing earlier in the day on Thursday, which is believed to be the motive for the shooting. failing and flailing, relationships failing, then their behavior just flailing, like they just don't know what to do with themselves. His Mercedes was found on Saturday. It was abandoned. The sheriff's department is asking for information. This is the dude. So the wife got custody. Argote was supposed to pay $1,100 in child support. He is prohibited from visiting or contacting his children or wife. Well, the wife can initiate it or could have initiated it and gave his wife sole possession of the family home. A protective order was issued in relation to domestic abuse in the couple's home in 2022, according to court documents. It is wild how so many of these people are just acting out, and they are facing the consequences of their actions in the fact that their relationships are ending, but then they are taking it out on random people. And I just don't know what to say about this. All of these stories are just so bad, so horrendous, so much carnage, and many of these things we'll have to consider. We'll have to start having these tough conversations. Many people are talking about the different things, like we're talking about the crisis of loneliness. We're talking about how some of these ex-wives feel when they fall out of the workforce, the labor force. We're talking about this, but we're not putting it all together. And somebody is going to have to do something, because too many of us are facing the consequences of these people not getting the help that they need. Anyways, like I said, this is three different stories that have tragic endings. And yeah, you guys can jump in the comments and let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. So after 3 weeks without a Speaker of the House, we now have one. So who is Mike Johnson? Mike Johnson, not Mike Jones. Okay, let's get into it. In the spring of 2022, Representative Mike Johnson started a podcast with his wife, Kelly, who calls herself a pastoral counselor. The title of the first episode was, Can America Be Saved? That question is familiar to many American evangelicals. It shows how Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, is a product of conservative evangelicalism and Deep South Republican political culture. Oh, awesome. He is the son of a firefighter and a cultural warrior. All right, he's 51. He grew up in Shreveport. He has a congressional district of 761,000 people. He is or was the fifth ranking member of the House Republican leadership. He got his law degree at LSU, spent nearly 2 decades working mostly for conservative legal groups who focused on issues of importance to religious conservatives. He worked for the Alliance Defense Fund, now known as the Alliance Defending Freedom. It was founded in 1994 by some of the leading figures of the religious right, including James Dobson of Focus on the Family and Billy Bright of Campus Crusade for Christ. ADF touts itself as working to defend the rights of conservative Christians to express their views on matters of sexuality and religion, which has gained a reputation for advocating for discrimination against sexual minorities. It's also worked to limit or even ban abortion and access to contraception. Johnson argued in favor of a ban on same-sex marriage before the Louisiana Supreme Court and has continued to advocate for those views as a legislature. So it just seems like more of the same. We got people that are in charge that want a theocracy and want to lead with their religious beliefs. So more of the same. We shall see what this Speaker of the House does with these conservative evangelicals and hard-line right-wingers in charge. Y'all go ahead, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share.